aspect this week?
Yeah, we're just looking at some of the things that we've done in the past, things that we do well, things that we got to get cleaned up, and it's really good to get a bye week at this point in the season after 7 games. You're really able to go look at yourself and see how other people look at you. So, much adjustments that we can make to hopefully clean some things up. Will hopefully carry us here in the next 5 weeks.
So the starters with no pads on, a lot of the younger guys during the fourth string getting those reps in practice this week. How have you noticed their growth over the course of the season?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, we got a great young group, and I love Coach Dillingham's philosophy is we're really trying to develop guys. You know what I mean? Like the first couple of years here, we've had to bring in guys to be able to give our depth and get our depth right, but we're really trying to invest in these younger guys in the third and the second and third, and as you get into our depth chart, we got a lot of talent in those rooms. So a bird in the hand is better than a bird in the bush. So basically, those guys are already with us. So let's develop the guys that we have and help them to get a vision of what their future is going to be here as a Sun Devil.
Was Chris Johnson kind of a part of that? I noticed yesterday he took some reps at safety. What did you kind of see from him in that performance?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, like I said, he's a great example of a young, talented kid, who's maybe a little buried in the depth chart at corner, but you got a big 190-plus pound young guy who's still got a clean slate. So, we can recognize talent, and this staff and our recruiting staff does a great job of evaluating guys and bringing the right guys in. So Chris is the guy that he's a lot like other guys. We're going to pour into those guys and help those guys see that, hey, listen, there's a future here, at Arizona State.
What about the game from last week? What kind of enabled that scoreless second half after allowing 24 points in the first half?
I mean, everything's about about situations. We've been in games, in most games this year, that we really haven't had to start with a short field and those type of things, and it's up to us to respond. So there's no excuses for that, because we work red zone and we work high red zone, and we weren't able to execute in the red zone except for one time in the first half. And when you start 3 drives on the 50 or your side of the field, your defense has to step up. And we did one in the second half because we had we had another short field in the second half, but our guys responded. So that's the expectation for us. We believe in our guys, and it doesn't matter the situation. We got to be able to respond to it. So, when you give up one play, the big long play was on me. It was a bad call by me. It was the longest touchdown run of the year, and that was on me. And then, then the 17 points were situations where, I think I could have called it better, and we could have executed some of those calls better. So in the second half, our guys really just kind of buckled down, and to me, there's not a difference in those halves except for maybe 2 or 3 plays. And thought we had a good plan for them, but at the same time, they probably scored 10 points more than I think they should have, and against a good offense.
Just kind of part of, I know you kind of said a little bit there, but what were some of the factors and some of those big gains that they had last week?
They only had 5 explosive plays total. So, they had one big play, and it honestly was a bad call. It was, it wasn't a great call by me in that situation, and I didn't put our guys in a great position to be successful in that play. So, the other, you credit to those guys. Like our guys played hard. There wasn't any other explosives that ultimately led to points for them. So, we played at times very solid football, and then times where situations where games come down defensively to situations that we need to either A, I need to call it better, and B, we need to execute the calls that are the right calls better.
You guys are now a little over halfway through the season. What have you noticed from your defense as a collective unit and their progression in playing together?
They play really hard, and they're unflappable. We've been down by 2 scores, and Coach Reynolds, our D-line coach, said it best. He hasn't been around in his career, and I haven't experienced it because I'm not down there. He hasn't experienced a group that is this unflappable. There's no freaking out. There's no guys losing their cool on the sideline. There's guys just say, let's get back to work, and that's testament to the guys. They believe in what we're doing, and they also believe in how they're being coached, and there's no gray area in terms of what the expectation is. So we got a great group, and I'm excited to see how we can close the season these last 5 games.
With this bye week too, a lot of freshmen kind of seeing some reps. We saw Bimage today get the pick, and then we've seen Martell Hughes get some 11-on-11 reps. And he's been a guy too that's been available on third downs. What are you kind of seeing from those two guys and their kind of ability to perform and kind of make their way in the two deep as freshmen?
A special freshman right there. I mean, it's one, I got to bring it up again, just great evaluation. Two, and they're exactly what we recruited. We thought, what they were going to be when they came in as freshmen. We thought those are two guys that could potentially help us right away, and both those guys have. So just really excited about their development, and that piece is really the critical piece. I mean, I talk about guys being comfortable in the system and comfortable with calls. I mean, that's where guys separate themselves in terms of their development and their progression throughout their careers. Guys that jump around and find new coaches and gotta get into new schemes and do those things, they never develop and they never hit the ceiling the way they should. And then they wonder why they don't get drafted or don't make NFL teams. Is because it really is about development, and especially from a defensive standpoint. And watching Rodney and watching Martell, just those guys and what their futures are going to look like if they stay the course. It's their potential is off the chart.
What are kind of the attributes that you identified with them early on that you feel like make them available like that? Some things you saw in high school that maybe stood out?
Just, everything. Movement, their personalities, just how engaging they are. Both those guys have been multi-sport athletes in their lives, and you just see the way they move around. They have things that you can't coach, and it's up to us to develop the fundamentals and the technique and the scheme. But in terms of athletically, there's just they're going to be pretty good players.
What about Plas Johnson? What have you seen from him through his first year of football at the college level?
He's same type of kid. Just really excited about his future, and great athlete. The thing that he has is he has dog to him. He has a mean streak, and that's what's exciting about Plas.
Same thing too with Kai McDonald. He's the guy who's kind of worked his way into that two deep. What are some of the things that you've noticed with his game?
High football IQ. He's very he digests. Stillwater's run deep with him. He's a little bit quiet, but you can tell he's a thinker. He's a processor. Comes from a great program, and a guy that played every position in high school. So he just understands just little things like spacing, how to move, when to move. Just things that you can't teach. He just has, again, high football IQ and high ability to digest information.
What about Keith Abney too? It seems like he's had pretty successful last few games, and he's had some lows this season. What have you seen from his development and the way he's been able to kind of bounce back from some of those low points this season? Yeah,
I haven't seen any lows from him. I've seen just learning experiences, and when you're playing corner, sometimes you're going to be by yourself, and sometimes teams are going to make plays. What's so exciting about Keith is he's kind of like he's made of Teflon. I mean, he's not affected. He's unaffected. He comes back and make a big play the following season. So, when you look at corners, a lot of people are going to look at one or two plays, and with him, just his body of work, his ability to get us into the right coverages, the right coverage adjustments, his savviness and recognizing motions and anticipating formation adjusts, all those things is what makes Keith special. And he doesn't have any one specific quality that makes him different, with the exception of just high football IQ.
Javen was banged up last game. He couldn't finish that, and assuming if he couldn't play against Oklahoma State, how do you feel about LT Welsh filling that void?
Yeah, experienced guy that we brought up. He came in. He played, I think, 43, 46 snaps. He did exactly what we expected him to do, and he really filled that. He filled that void, leaving Javen. We moved Keith out to the field and moved LT into the boundary, and he really did execute really well. And finishing that game in that fourth quarter without two of our starters in the secondary really is a testament to where we're at in terms of our depth. We have guys that we trust and guys that are engaged and guys that believe in what we're doing.
Previously, you stated the goal of 40 sacks in a season, and that obviously requires a lot of pressure from up front. What have you kind of noticed from the pressure, and what are some of your takeaways this year on that?
I mean, that's an area that we can improve, but you can also see teams are definitely planning for our ability to rush the passer. We're getting a lot of 6- and 7-man protections, whereas our adjustment last week was playing more coverage, so we eliminated the explosive passes. We didn't give up an explosive pass to Cincinnati, which was a team that lived and died off explosive passing games. So, it's a cat and mouse game, and I got to be able to call pressure when I think they're going to give us bigger protection groups. And a team like that we saw that they just said, hey, we're not gonna let you hit our quarterback no matter what. We're not gonna get 5 out and 4 out concepts. We're not gonna go 6-man protection. We're not ever gonna go 5-man. We're gonna go 7 and 8-man protection. That's the byproduct of that. So how are you gonna play it? You're going to try to get more guys out so you can create an explosive passing game, or you're just going to protect your quarterback and try to manage the game from that standpoint, and that's what they did. So I think we're affecting the quarterback, and we had 3 sacks the week before against Utah, and we are affecting the quarterback when we want to.
Talk about a little bit there with the secondary not allowing some of those bigger plays. What do you feel like are some of the factors that have kind of allowed that to happen?
Belief in our system and execution of our plans.